There's another row of 7 in here.
Both retired.
Somebody else want to sit down? Or I start stacking more
Reached
chairs
the
in?
final age of 54.
Wow. That sounds so young now to me.
They're still filing that.
Hello.
Yeah.
If we can get a few more rows of chairs in, then the people who stand at the back will be able to see. And there's some chairs here.
Yeah.
And Joe and Nora, come and sit down there, please.
No, I want somebody to sit on my knee.
Okay.
See, now I'm getting lost.
That's fine. There's just a couple of housekeeping. Hello? Can you hear me? Because you're still talking. Okay, there's a housekeeping thing that we have to let you know about. There's no smoking on our common area grounds. So if you're going to smoke, please go down and across the street. King won't go out with a broom in the morning and clean up the house. Anyway, thank you all.
Okay.
No, what's that? Is it on real estate for? Okay. Okay, so, sorry, sorry. We'll just go through our quick agenda. So, quite loud, I don't think this is really necessary. So we're gonna just, my Uncle Bill was supposed to be here, he's unable to attend. So we're gonna have a quick summary of his eulogy. Then my sister and I will say a little something, we'll watch a video, and then my mom will say something.
And then we'll watch the video.
Then we'll watch the video. And then we'll have some cocktails.
I'll tell you something.
Thanks for being with us. Ron's brother Bill and wife Adele and son Chris intended to be here. There is a family emergency in Winnipeg and they could not be with us. Bill wrote this eulogy.
Can you hear?
No.
They can't hear.
Some facts about Ronald Dennis Carroll. I
Maybe-
believe that this is a
maybe you
factual
could go
account.
back.
And if I say something that is not factual, I expect you to point it out. I know Ron would. My brother, Ron Carroll, was the slowest driver in Canada. This characteristic earned him a lot of ridicule from his loving family members, who are gathered here today. Ron, however, was unfazed by criticism and carried on at his own leisurely pace. It was not until we reached the next red traffic signal and we slowly pulled up beside all the cars that had been whizzing by us on the highway, they all would realize that he was right, we were wrong, he was usually right, which made us all crazy. This was a small example that speaks volumes about Ron's personality. Ron was a man of few words, but when he had something to say, it was best to listen, as he always knew what he was talking about. He would often bide his time, let you paint yourself into a corner, then shoot you down in flames or disarm you with one of his classic one-liners. He was quiet-spoken, but had a great sense of humor, and was a master at seeing the funny side of almost any situation. Those of us that spent time with him in his hospital room during his last days know that he would have joined in with our desperate attempts at humor. Ron, although pretending to be grumpy, was one of the most kind-hearted men I have ever known. He was always willing to lend a hand and help someone out. He was a thin man, but strong as an ox, which came in a little handy when you needed something moved. He was also strong-willed, and we saw that come through in his last few years of life as he battled many health issues. He was an extremely smart guy and was also very talented. The man could fix anything. If your car was broken, he could fix it. If your fridge was broken, he could fix it. And if your heart was broken, he always seemed to have the right words to help fix that too. Ron did not suffer fools lightly. If you were a peckerhead, his term outline, although I have adopted it, he might just tell you so. I've even known him to call someone an asshole. But if you were lucky enough to be his friend, you could count on him for anything. Ron was a talented winemaker and wine drinker, and he knew how to enjoy a rum, always with a lime in it, and a beer, always from a glass, never from a can or bottle. In addition to being the slowest driver in Canada, he was also the slowest eater. Long after we were all done, Ronnie would be finishing up his meal and invariably announce, "Now my fat little belly is full." Never too full for apple pie and ice cream, however, and perhaps a snifter of cognac, or if Diane would share, Grand Marnier. Ron loved his daughters Lorraine and Ronna and adored his wife Diane. He always called his girls his sweetheart, and he was very protective of them, as King and Steve can attest. He was Papa or Poppy to his granddaughter Bailey, and although separated from her by distance, he was still able to be involved in her life. He loved her very much. Ron and Diane were married over 55 years and were inseparable. Thanks to Diane, as Ronnie would have never left home, they developed a weekly routine of canoe on Wednesday, BBJ in a tap house on Friday, and of course, the Eagles on Sunday. Ron made many new and lasting friends from these outings and enjoyed BSing and telling lies, as he called it, when he would tell me about his week each Sunday morning. Ron was a very patient man. Diane, as you may know, can have the odd brainy idea. Ron would just make a face or quietly shake his head and go along with whatever it was. He did that because Diane was the love of his life, and he would have done anything for her. Diane, he was worried about you in his last days, and we promised him we would look after you, and we will. These are just a few of the things that made Ron Carroll so dear to us, and we will all miss him so much, none more so than Diane. We had the great pleasure and privilege of sharing our lives with him, and know that someday we will see him again. We love you, Ron.
Is that you, Lorraine?
Wow, there's lots of people back there. I just wanted to share a few things that my dad taught me. Things my dad taught me. I think you can tell a lot from what a man teaches his children. Of course, there is the usual be honest, brush your teeth before bed, don't talk to strangers. Dad might have taken that one a bit too far. Poppy went way beyond any of those life lessons. Here are some of the things he taught me. Sorry. The green lifesavers are the very best ones. You need a pair of gloves, found some new ones of his, for every job. Condo life had Dad down to just a pair or two, but there was a time when he must have had more than 10 pairs on the go. I have a couple of my own now, and he's proud to know that this was a lesson both Bailey and Steve have learned as well. Winter can be fun. I know most of you will find that hard to believe, but there was a time when we all had snowmobiles, cross-country skis, and couldn't wait for the weekend to get to Badger. He was the best skate tire ever. He and Mom coached both our ringette teams. Keep in mind, this was Winnipeg and we played outside. I bet he often wondered why the hell he didn't sign us up for gymnastics or something else warm and indoors. Another thing he taught us, or me, you have to give your job at least 6 months before you know if you like it. No quit. I was able to cut this a little short when I was about 16, having been held up at work, but not before I found another job. He also taught me that there is always at least one jerk you have to work with. And I've come to learn that if you only have one, you're pretty darn lucky. Work hard and play hard. I'm sure you'll notice more play hard than work hard when we get to the slideshow, but who takes pictures at work? Everything has a home. Put it there right away and everything will be neat and tidy. I don't got that one down yet, I'm still working on it. You have to learn how to look after your car, including change a tire, before you get your driver's license. Of course, since then, I've learned that CAA is a good bet, except for the time I had to call Uncle Bill in January in Winnipeg. Thanks again, Uncle Bill. Never, ever buy a bottle from the liquor store if it doesn't have the little sampler bottle attached.
Freebie.
And he taught me how special Christmas was. What fantastic memories. Looking through the pictures to put things together was awesome. I'd forgotten all the little plays we used to do and stuff, Anyway, there was always the Grinch, family and friends, the night before Christmas, and lots of good cheer. Most years, there was a neatly wrapped package way at the back of the tree, always addressed to Ronnie, the best guy ever. It never said who it was from. Lorene and I were little, and if you've ever seen Mom wrap anything, you know it wasn't from her. It was Dad's way of making sure that he got the best new toy or tool before Uncle Roland got it. One of the coolest things we ever did was deliver hampers for the Christmas cheer board in Winnipeg. We wore our Santa hats, loaded up the truck, and spent the day making Christmas happen for so many kids who wouldn't otherwise have one. At first, I was mostly just happy to have the day off high school, but soon it became clear how awesome it was to play Santa. That is when we officially became the Christmas carols. Papi taught me how to be me. He also taught me that the police did not leave me on the doorstep as a baby, no matter what Lorene says. And I can see from the crowd that he taught a lot of you this as well. Red socks are cool. Thank you, Papi. We love you much and much.
I should have gone first. Okay, Ron Carroll was the world's greatest dad. I know that they let just anyone buy those cups and t-shirts, but he truly was the world's best dad. Good work, Diane. Dad did everything with us, whether it was coaching, ringette, softball, taking us swimming, or playing dolls or washing machine with us. He would, in Winnipeg, would wrap up our little bodies, bundle us up, walk us 10 minutes up this little hill, down Kildonan Hill for a 10-second ride. Well, my mom waited in the car. Oftentimes he would take us out at Halloween. He would take us out, and we'd have our costumes over top of or underneath our parkas. It would be freezing cold, and we'd be yelling Halloween apples, and Ron would be yelling Halloween beers. And quite often he got them. Ron and I both knew we came first, and we do believe he loved being our dad most of the time. He seemingly never ran out of patience. He would be on the roof, fixing the eaves trough, and I would drop the ball and it would roll out of the yard. He'd come down the ladder, give it to me, ask me not to do it again, and go back up on the ladder. I would drop the ball, he would come back down the ladder, he would hand it to me, ask me not to do it again, and go back up the ladder. Then I would open the gate and let the dog out, and he'd come back down the ladder and get the dog, put the dog back in, and ask me never to do it again. That side of him was displayed again when we were teenagers and dinged and dented every vehicle he loaned or helped us buy. I remember the New Yorker, the Volare, the Nova, the Buick, just to name a few, and I know that I damaged a wrecked.
I was going to say
Our dad worked hard and played hard, like my Rana said. We had many fun summers at West Hawk and Jessica, and many great winters at Badger. At the cottage, snowmobiling, cross-country skiing, having wiener roasts, and enjoying the odd cocktail. The next adventure for my mom and dad was their move from Winnipeg to Pender Island. I'm not really sure how any real estate agent could help them with my dad's criteria of, I like toasted salmon sandwiches. They did arrive on Pender, and Dad learned to sail, and they met many new friends. Mom and Dad purchased a boat, the Mucho Gusto, and became salmon fishermen. I'm sure this helped him on his quest for the best toasted salmon sandwiches. I will miss my dad's quick one-liners that seemed to come out of nowhere, and oftentimes I didn't really think he was even listening. I came home from school, university one day, and I'm sure I was thinking that I was quite a smarty pants after taking this course in deviant behavior. So my mother and I started talking about necrophilia.
Oh, geez.
Then my dad says, well, I've done that. Like, what? Seriously? I didn't think he really knew what it meant. And right out of them, he says, well, sure, I've been sleeping with your mother for the last 40 years. I'm sure many of you have been a victim to many of his zingers or one-liners that come out of nowhere. And that was a huge trait that we really foster in the Carroll family. And as my sister alluded, Ron Carroll had a glove fetish. Although this trait is not displayed as prominently in Victoria as it was on Pender Island and Winnipeg and Badger. This man had gloves for every activity inshore. I'm not saying he used gloves. He had wood cutting gloves, lawn maintenance gloves, driveway gloves, painting the fence gloves, cement mixing gloves, chainsaw gloves, taking out the garbage gloves, and plumbing gloves. Each pair of gloves was only used for that specific tasks and that they were assigned to. We often made fun of his glove fetish, and for his 50th birthday, he was awarded 50th birthday cake cutting gloves. His glove obsession came only second to his love of John Wayne movies. I am sure my dad watched all 142 John Wayne movies. I do know that he watched most of them by himself because no one else could stand them. Whenever True Grit and John Wayne's Oscar was brought up, the general response from those of us within earshot would be, "Pity Oscar, pity Oscar," while Dad would try to defend the acting icon. In recent years, he's taken to wearing his Lucky Reds. I know that everyone has seen him wearing those goofy red socks. They were the socks one time we bought him when he was on a hospital stay. We'd like to think that those Lucky Reds have given us a few extra years with Ron. My dad liked to have a good time. It was not above putting a halter top on in a pub for a free beer. Or wearing our ugly Christmas sweaters down to Big Bad John's. Or running around Grey Cup in Vancouver pretending to be Mike Harcourt's brother, W. Neil Harcourt, in order to get free limo rides for the weekend. And it worked. He was a man who knew how to have a good time. Ron Carroll is a strong man with a huge heart. Our hearts ache knowing he will no longer be sharing our days. I know he would not want us to linger in sadness, but want and expect us to get on with it. As the saying goes, life's hard, get a helmet. He would want us to remember and cherish the great times we all had together and continue to have. I got some. This made it better. He'd want us to continue to have many adventures, carry on, and have great experiences and live our lives to the fullest. We have not only lost a husband, a dad, Poppy, uncle, and friend. The world has truly lost one of the good guys.
Great.
Should've gone first.
Ah. Ron was my love and my life since I was 16 years old. We lived, we loved, we laughed, and we cried together, with happily much more loving and laughing than crying. We enjoyed many, many happy years in Winnipeg. We loved our family, as you have heard previously. We had wonderful friends. We loved our home, our cottage, our work, and our whole lifestyle. We moved to Pender Island and spent 10 happy years, and once again made wonderful friends and had many happy times and adventures. Now, here we are in where are we? Here we are in Victoria for 11 years. Nothing changing much except living in a condo and downtown rather than a house in the suburbs. And guess what? Wonderful friends, fun and adventures, loving and laughing. Ron was a fighter. He fought back so many times. This time he lost the battle, but he won the war. And now, much crying, but still loving and laughing. He was an amazing husband, and I can't believe I did such a good job by picking my husband and father for my children at 16. He was a keeper, and I will never forget him. There will be a short video after this. The family will leave to go outside, where the piper will play a favorite of Ron's. Please pick up a glass of champagne or sparkling cider and join us. We will raise a glass to Ron after the piper is done. Thank you all.
All of your might in the cell.